Hello, Honors Algebra students. Mr. Lawrence here, and here is part 3 of the video. I don't think I have another page. Nope. Okay, there we go. This is part 3. There we go. I couldn't see the part 3. I must have scrolled. Anyway, I've got two equations here I'd like you to graph, okay? Y equals 4 to the power of x minus 1, and y equals 3 to the negative x plus 2. You go ahead and do that, and unpause the video when you're ready to see what I'm going to do. All right, here come my graphs. Now, to graph these here in just Algebra 1 land, I'm going to make an input-output table, okay? And I might not graph every point I put in my input-output table, but I'm going to try to get an understanding of what's going on. So I think I'm going to start with like a -3, a -2, a -1, a 0, a 1, and a 2. And I think that's as far as I want to go. Okay, so I know that if I put 0 in for x, I'm going to get 1, and 1 minus 1 is 0. So this is going to go through the origin. When I put 1 in, I'm going to get 4 minus 1 is 3. When I put 2 in, I'm going to get 15, and I don't think I'm going to graph that. Okay, now I put -1 in, I'm going to get 1/4. 1/4 minus 1 is going to be at -3/4. When I put -2 in, I'm going to get 1/16. So I think I'm going to get -15/16, which is getting pretty darn close to -1. It's not a coincidence. And then I think this one is going to be -63/64, which is even closer to -1. And I really like that because I'm going to hug -1. There's going to be an asymptote at -1. Y equals -1, that is. But the graph will never touch it. So let's see here. I'll make that asymptote black, right? So let's see here. Properties. Let's make them a little thinner. Put them on a diet and black. There we go. Okay, so I know that this guy, and pardon me, it's difficult to do on the airliner. It's going to hug. Slightly start to come up, and then all of a sudden he is going to shoot way up, and it's just going to keep going, and I'm not going to hit x equals 2 until way up at 15, like somewhere up here. Okay, now if I wanted to, I could go to Desmos and check that. Might not be a bad idea. What was it? 4 to the power of x minus 1. And so, I got a 4 to the power of x minus 1 right there. Let me get rid of this. Oops. -1. And there we go. You can see what I've got here. Notice it doesn't hit 2 until 15. And look, so 15 is right there, and it's smack on at 2:15 right there. Okay, so there's that one. And now the other one is y equals 3 to the negative x plus 2. And so that's going to cause a change here. So let's see what's going to happen. I think my quarter pipe shape is going to look a little bit different. All right, so let's see. Let's try the same numbers. -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2. All right. Well, when I put -3 in, I'm going to get the negative of -3, which is +3. 3 to the third is 27, plus 2 is 29. Oh, all right. When I put -2 in, I'm going to get 3 squared 9. That's going to be 11. -1 is going to get me 5 as an answer. 3 plus 2 is 5. 0 is still going to produce a 1. I'm going to get a 3 there. 1 is going to be a 1/3, so I'm going to get 2 and 1/3. And then squared is going to get me 1/9, so that'll be 2 and 1/9. You notice they're getting closer to 2. So when I go to graph this, -2 is going to be up here at 11. So maybe 11 is about there. -1 is going to be at 5. 0 is at 3. And then I start to get really close to the line y equals 2. So in other words, the entire graph was shifted from where it would normally be 2 up to, y up to, because it says plus 2. It won't seem to let me move that. There we go. So, yeah, something like that. And again, it's really difficult to draw this, so I'm going to do the best I can. So it's going to come down like this. And then hug. Right? Okay. Now, again, checking on Desmos, it'll look a lot prettier on Desmos. Okay, where are we at here? Where is my internet? And if I did this one, I'm going to get y equals 3 to the power of negative x. Oops. To the power of negative x. And then it was plus 2. And there you go. Okay, you can see how it's hugging the line x equal, or y equals 2. It looks like it's touching it, but if I zoom in enough, we can tell that it starts to separate. See that each time I zoom in, we see a difference between the green line and the line y equals 2. All right, so that's it for graphing those. Let me go ahead and get rid of these two equations here. And then there was one more type of problem we talked about for graphing, and that's when we have something like this. And we talked just Thursday about this, that we could rewrite this as two functions. We could say f of x equals 1/2 x plus 3, and of course that's a linear function. And then we could have f of x equals 2 to the power x minus 1. All right, so the red one's easy enough to graph. I've got a y-intercept of 3 and a slope of 1 over 2. And so I get something like this. And it's going to be a nice solid line. Let's see, the properties. The start needs to be an arrow. And I'll make it a little bit thinner. All right, so there's that one. And that was my pineapple, by the way, for handbrake. And it's telling me that a video I have been compressing is ready to go. And it's going to jump up and down like that, but that's okay. All right, now my other one is going to be 2 to the power of x minus 1. So when x is 0, y is going to be negative 1. Right? Okay, when x is 1, I'm going to get 1 for an answer. There we go. When x is 2, I'm going to get 3 for an answer. When x is 3, I believe I'm going to get 7. And then when I go negative 1, I'm going to get 1/2, so I'm going to get negative 1/2. Right? When I go negative 2, I'm going to get 1/4, so it'll be negative 3/4. And I know my asymptote is going to be the line y equals, oop, I have a mistake, don't I? I sure do. Asymptote should be at y equals negative 1. So let me try this again here. Let me plug 0 in. Oh, and I'm going to get 1 minus 1 is 0. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. All right, yeah, it's going through the origin. And then I'm going to get 1, negative 1/2, and then negative 3/4, getting closer. And now I'm going to put that asymptote in. And so we're going to get something like this. And when I graph it, I am going to, I'm not using my airliner, so it's a little bit tricky. Get something like this. Now, one thing I don't like about my graph is I can't exactly tell where the two graphs intersect each other, because that's what I'm after. So I'm going to make this extended longer, like so. And now I can identify the places where they cross. And so I'll do that here, and then I'll do that here. Now, if it asks me to guesstimate the values, I can do that, but it's very difficult to be exact. It's a little bit easier on Desmos. Let me go to Desmos and see what it looks like. What do I got? 1/2 y equals 1/2 x plus 3, I believe. And I do have to hit home on that because I had zoomed in. And then the other one is going to be y equals 2 to the power of x, and then minus 1. All right, and so you see, it sure looks like they're going to cross right about here. It's difficult to get both. And then right there. And look at that, I would never guesstimate that answer. Okay, now I'm not sure if this one's exactly right. That one looks spot on. This one looks like it could be off just a little bit. But I can get a close approximation. When you're in Algebra 2, you'll actually take logarithms and find out how to do it. All right, that's what you can expect to see on the quiz, Mr. Laurence, or on the test, excuse me. Mr. Laurence signing out. Have a good night, everybody.